We're live! Welcome to YouTube. Welcome to the internet. No one's actually watching this live because I've made it an unlisted thing. So unless you have a magical way to obtain the link to YouTube, this YouTube, then you're watching live. But otherwise, you're watching this much later after I have come up with all the content. This is the second deep dive interview that we've done. The first one we did with Bradley, and we got a lot of insight into a lot of the things that were going on in the game, and we're going to do the same with Lane. Lane was an integral part of this game. He came in third place after being evicted at 9. It would have been. No, you would have been 10th.
I was the third eviction.
You would have been 10th. Then
really, I did really bad.
And then ultimately he made it all the way to the final 3. He was essentially an HOH competition away from winning the game. And we'll go through it all. We'll start at the top. Well, I did this with Bradley. I'll ask you the same question. What? It was probably a little different because well, I'll just ask. What were the emotions? Let's talk about both evictions. The emotions after both evictions.
Okay, so the first eviction, they got me. They completely blindsided me, and I felt really stabbed in the back by Jenny and Tucker, who I was 100% sure was on my team. So I was very mad, but I kind of felt it coming in a way because Tyler was really standoffish. I hadn't been talking to Chris much that week, which was the first time since we started the game that I wasn't talking to Chris. So I kind of formulated this plan to kind of shove Ashton and Allie under the radar by blowing up a lot of game with my final message. So that was more strategy than it was anger, even though I was really mad.
Right.
Every bit of information I said in that message was 1,000% true. But what I didn't know was that Bradley, Tucker, Chris, and Jenny were working together. And so they were like, oh, yeah, Lane's just being crazy. So they just kind of, fizzled out my plan anyway. So it didn't really work. So that one was, I was really mad about it because I wanted to make it to jury. But the second one, I was impressed because Jenny got me. 1,000% Jenny got me. And that's why I voted Jenny to win, is because she did the impossible and got me out, for good. So.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured based on what you had kind of been saying to me, that the second eviction just kind of made sense at that point, and
yeah,
Jenny may have not have been the wisest to take you to the end, which she did consider, but we'll get there. All right, so let's talk about the very beginning of the game. The game hasn't even started yet, and really a lot of things shifted once the news broke that Eric Marcy would be dropped out and Allie would have been added in. Yeah. How did that kind of, well, just talk about everything pre-game.
Okay, so I knew walking into this game, I was a target, 1,000%. Me and Ashton were the only couple in the house that people were going to be going after me from the very beginning. So, of course, I wanted to work with Ashton. I talked to Bradley, and I formulated this fake plan. I never wanted to take Bradley to the final 2, but I said, I want to beat Ashton so bad. Let's me and you work together. Let's work with Ashton, bring her in as our final 3, and then me and you can cut her at the end. Now,
was that your real plan?
That wasn't the real plan. The real plan was just take Ashton to the end and me and her go together. Right. So if I had those 3 for sure, and I said, now who else can I possibly get to get numbers? Obviously Jenny, because the 4 of us would have made sense. We're family in a way. I mean, I guess technically we all eventually will be family, but whatever. So there was 4. We wanted to bring in Eric, family again, 5. So we needed one more number to have the halfway, and maybe 2. So I said, let's bring in Tucker and Tyler because they were already friends with Jenny. That'll give us a strong 7. We can knock out the big targets and then go after each other. But at the end of the day, my final 4 was set: Bradley, me, Jenny, Ashton. Once Eric quit, my game was I was just like, okay, we won't have Eric. We'll just go from there. But once I found out that Allie was coming in, that's when I approached Allie, and we created the 4 Horsemen Alliance: me, Ashton, Ian, and Allie, because our original number 1 target between me, Ashton, and Bradley was Ian, because he's super smart. He's a great competitor. So we knew that Ian was going to have to be one of the first ones to go. That was kind of pre-game strategy up until that point. Just all the family and close people worked together until there were 7 people left. So it didn't work.
It didn't work. Okay, so then Bradley wins HOH, and he does everything against what you think he should be doing.
Yeah.
Where were you at then, and where are you at now with Bradley's HOH?
The thing about Big Brother is there's so many possibilities. There's so many. If you do one thing a little bit differently, it could be the difference between life and death. If Bradley hadn't have gotten out Ian, I think it would have been a better move for both mine and his game. Honestly, I think that Ian and Allie had no one else because everybody wanted to target the couples. So I think Bradley not voting out Ian would have been beneficial to him because we would have trusted him. Because that was the point where I was like, I don't trust Bradley anymore. I didn't trust Bradley since week 1 because he did that. But yeah, I guess it makes sense in a way. In a way, it doesn't. But I don't know. I guess it was good for his game because he had that middle 4-person alliance, so that kept very okay because we had to trust Bradley and they got what they wanted, and then the middle 4 was just like, okay, whatever.
Right, and that's when I would have had, and maybe I can anticipate this in future games, but I had no idea how much of an impact every eviction would have on the arc of the entire game because so much seemed to hinge on Ian's eviction and then essentially Jenny's vote in that first eviction, where she really did find herself like actually in the very middle and was the swing vote.
Yep, 100%. And I texted Jenny and I said, who did it? Was it Tucker? Was it Tyler? I would have never guessed Jenny would have been the one to do it. I would have rather her said right there, no, I did it. Because from that moment on, I didn't trust Jenny. And the only reason I continued to talk to Jenny and make deals with Jenny is because I had to. I had no other option because everybody else wanted me out except for Bradley and Allie and Ashton.
Yeah, I think Jenny, at least from what I've gotten from her, at least what I remember from them was just basically she didn't want to have to lie about it until, well, she did. She had to lie about it, or she didn't have to, but she chose to lie about it. But she wanted to ensure that she wasn't going to be a target the next round, so she just kind of waited until some things played out before she eventually fessed up, which didn't take too long. Because then, following right after that,
I would say she should have never fessed up to us because that's when me and Ashton stopped trusting her. If she would have just kept it going that it was Tyler, or Tucker, then things would have been a lot different. I would have continued to trust Jenny for a lot longer. So I don't think she should have told the truth. Right. Big Brother's all about lying, obviously. As you can see.
Yeah, and and me and Bradley talked about this, and I don't think it's 100% true, but it's hard to tell the winner that they did something wrong.
Yeah, 100%. No.
Yeah. But I mean, I can agree with that to an extent. Anyway, so then Ian's evicted, and the next thing you know, Ashton wins HOH, and that's probably best case scenario for you.
Yeah. Ashton won HOH, which was awesome, and it was like both of us won HOH in a way. I told her to put up Daniel and Tyler. I then went to Daniel because we needed that extra number because we didn't have Jenny. Bradley, we didn't know if we could trust. We didn't know about Tucker. So I said, we need an extra number. Who in the world can we possibly get on our side? And the only person we could, pick out was the veto king himself, Daniel.
Right.
So I said, let's formulate this plan. We're gonna say, we're just putting up 2 people that, we don't know much about, Tyler and Daniel. Then I'm going to continue because since day 00, I was talking to Daniel, just trying to form some kind of relationship with him. I said, we can tell Daniel, I can go to Daniel and be like, hey, what if somehow I can pull you off the block? I can ensure your safety. And he said, if you could do that, that'd be great, whatever, just to gain his trust, to kind of bring him over to our side. The plan was for me to win veto. And even Sarah was involved in that plan for me to win veto. But because Sarah was kind of desperate at that point. But things changed and she had Ashton win the veto, which kind of changed the perspective. So that's when my lying started right there. And it didn't stop until I got evicted. Till I left the house, it didn't stop. I said, no, Daniel, we will not put Sarah on the block. That's not the plan. The plan is for Tyler to go home. We put off Daniel and got Sarah out because she's a huge threat, 100% huge threat.
Yeah, and then, well, maybe not then, but yeah, there was a lot of, and you don't have to say much, you kind of just did. There was a lot more behind the scenes in that dodgeball veto than I still even understand.
Yeah. So the plan was if everybody throws all their dodgeballs at a certain person, then that guarantees that somebody's going to win. So my job was to throw all, I think it was 6 plus the 2 money balls. I think I was supposed to throw all of them at Tucker. Now I wanted to ensure that I had the power. I was greedy. I wanted the veto so bad. So I actually threw 6 of my balls at Tucker, and I threw the 2 money balls at the 2 nominees to ensure that they wouldn't win. Ashton went back on the plan. Sarah went back on the plan and threw balls at me. Like I was supposed to end up not getting anything thrown at me at all, but that didn't happen. That was just kind of the plan.
Mm-hmm. But you get Sarah out. That was your plan, and ultimately got her out for good because you won the battle back. But we'll get there. So then the crazy, weird, bizarre Tyler HOH happens. And first of all, what do you make of his original speech and nominations of Bradley and Ashton?
I knew it was garbage. I knew it was 100% garbage because me, Bradley, Ashton, Allie, maybe even Jenny and Tucker all said that that Drew was a target. Drew, Daniel, I think even maybe Chris's name was thrown around. The only person I heard throw my name around was Chris, and that's when I stopped trusting Chris from that point. But yeah, we knew it was garbage. We knew that he had to have had some kind of plan, some kind of deal going with someone. I just thought that Bradley was the target because Bradley won the first HOH. So I thought Bradley was a big target. Obviously not. Obviously I was the target, and they got what they wanted and got me out. It just made me upset. Tyler was the one that got me out.
I think there's a little less truth behind that because when you got evicted, you basically were. Oh no! When you got put up on the block, you were basically like, okay, is this the plan all along? I don't know that was the plan all along. I really think so. From what I know, Tyler, when he made his nominations, really did just like decide, I'm just going to do something crazy here because I've barely been playing and now I have some power and I'm just going to go for it. So he basically said anything anyone told him didn't matter to him. He was going to put up 2 people that no one told him to put up. He was going to lie to everybody. So he did. And then I don't know when the formulating of a plan to get you on the block happened, but I think it basically happened once Drew had won the veto. And I don't know. And I think Jenny had part in that. But I know I think Jenny went to Drew and Drew went to Tyler and eventually got you on the block.
Yeah, it makes sense sitting here now after the game. It 100% makes sense. Like it's literally 2 people playing a game together. But that's why I sent that message. Bradley and Chris are playing the game together. Jenny and Tucker are playing the game together. Ian and Allie were playing the game together. Drew, Daniel, and Sarah were playing the game together. Like there's more than just dating. There's brother and sister. There's friends. There's all these things that people are couples, and they were just overlooking that. And I felt it was a really unfair thing that you were targeting these 2 people when these 2 people were playing together. These 2 people were playing together. That's why I kind of sent that message. I just wanted people to feel bad for Ashton, be like, oh, Lane blew up. Lane is a jerk. Lane's ridiculous. Lane's over the top. Poor Ashton. Maybe Ashton can get brought over to another side where she can, continue to keep going through the game. A
lot of things happened at your eviction. First of all, when you were put up on the block and the voting began, you were probably closer than you realized to getting Jenny to save you. She was very, 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 very close to keeping you and voting Bradley out. But Bradley then called Jenny on the phone. They talked, and he talked her out of it. He didn't talk her out of it. He just kind of made her feel bad because Bradley and Jenny had been, as you know, working in the Monkeys in the Middle Alliance with Tucker and Chris, and she realized that she had to protect them.
Yeah, I just feel like a big strong point of this game that really gets overlooked a lot, maybe even by you. A lot of us are really good writers. I know that I view myself as a good writer. Allie, Tucker, like all these people are very good at writing and convincing. So I feel like that played a part. That's why I didn't necessarily call her. I was like, let me use my words to kind of get what I want. I didn't.
And it almost worked. Like your pitch to her, she was like, until Bradley called her, essentially making her realize that she wanted to still work with him. She was close. And I'm glad you said that because that is something that I maybe overlooked a little bit, but didn't overlook at the at the very end. We'll get hold that thought because I have more thoughts on it that we can talk about in a little bit.
Awesome.
So you're evicted, but ultimately you're still like involved because Ashton then goes on to win HOH, gets Tyler out. I don't know if there's anything to really discuss here, but if you think there is, then
Actually, I had nothing to do with it. At that point, I was like, I need a break from this game. This game, if anyone's watching, this game is intense. And I've been watching Big Brother. That's a whole nother point. Okay, I'll say the point now then, since we have nothing to talk about here. When I watched Big Brother, I always thought it was dumb when people say, "Oh, I'm a super fan. I can't let anyone know I'm a super fan." But you really do need to hide that information. What a lot of people in the house didn't know about me, something I hid specifically from people like Daniel and Allie. I've been watching Big Brother since I was 10 years old. I really am a big fan of Big Brother, and so I feel like that was just a really important aspect of the game that people overlook. And so once I left the game, I was like, that killed my desire to play Big Brother. I've wanted to play Big Brother my whole life. I was like, this game is intense. This game is real. It's fun, but it's real, and I'm done with it. So Ashton getting out Tyler, I think, was not a great move. She should have aimed for somebody bigger, but I had nothing to do with it. That was not me.
that's great. Well, but okay, so then you're thrown into the not the Big Brother, to the Battleback arena, and all hell broke loose. But ultimately, at the very end, you win yourself back into the house. What are you feeling at this moment? You had shut off your Big Brother brain. You had turned it off. You had escaped, which maybe was a good thing. And now you're in. And what are you thinking?
I studied so hard. That stupid Declan story. I listened to that thing. I could sit here and boron, calcium, carbon, fluorine, some F1, francium. That was it. Gold. Like, I literally studied that thing so hard. I knew I deserved it. I didn't know that me and Ian tied. I didn't know that Ian got the whole thing. So it took the edge off a little bit when I found out that me and Ian tied, because I was like, oh, I guessed on the tiebreakers. And as I'm sure you of all people are aware, I suck at the tiebreakers.
Right.
But I got back in the house. I was stoked. The first message I sent in the big chat was, "Hey, Daniel, did you miss me?" Because he stabbed me in the back and voted me out. He lied to my face, even though I lied to his face. But yeah, I wanted Daniel and Jenny's head on a stake at that moment. 100%.
So that was kind of the official start of what is now known as Laniel. I don't know how that happened.
Craziest thing we've ever done.
Well, and we can talk about Laniel in a minute because it actually has more importance down the stretch.
Yeah. 100%.
So let's see. So Jenny wins here, and she's HOH. You're back in the game, and this is where the game took another pretty humongous turn. So Jenny puts Allie and Daniel up on the block. Daniel wins his millionth veto on his road to win 3 million. And Daniel, of course, pulls himself off the block, and then the chaos ensues.
Yeah. Well, first off, this was the first, when I got back in the house, that's the first time. Disclaimer, I'm the best player to play Big Brother season 1. I was the best one in the house.
We can talk about that later.
Thanks, you two. But anyway, this was the first time where I started to feel confident in my Big Brother game, because I somehow convinced Jenny, maybe I didn't even convince her, but somehow Jenny didn't put me on the block, which blew my mind. Pretty much every Big Brother person that comes back into the house in the real game gets evicted the next one. We saw it this season with Scotty. He won, and then boom, he was right back out unanimously again. So I was just like, wow, why did she not put me up? That's dumb. So Allie and Daniel on the block. I obviously want Daniel out. Daniel saves himself, and at that point, I've got my alliance member up there and potentially me going up there, and I knew that I was in trouble. For some reason, Jenny put up Drew. I don't know if it's because me and Ashton talked her into it, but essentially, here's big lie number 2. We lied to Jenny and said, yes, we will vote out Allie because Jenny wanted Allie out for whatever reason. That was obviously a lie. Why would I vote out my alliance member when Drew's been openly targeting me? Drew, one thing that everybody who played the game might not know is Drew and I, we never spoke. We haven't spoken since it's Christmas. Like we did not speak this entire game. it's because he was targeting me, and then I was like, I don't want to work with him. I didn't want to ask for his votes. He didn't want to ask for my votes. He didn't send me a goodbye message. I didn't send him a goodbye message. Like, me and Drew were just on completely opposite ends of the earth. Not to say I don't love Drew. He's awesome. He's super cool. I love hanging out with Drew. But we just didn't play this game together. And so I was like, yeah, let's get out Drew. Let's lie. Bradley was very straightforward. He's like, yes, I want Drew out. Chris, of course, played a very smart game. He wanted Drew out as well. So we got Drew out. We then called Jenny on the phone after that. We were like, we're sorry we did that. Let's stop. Basically, we were like, we're done screwing each other. Like, this is it. Let's just finish this game together. So
Right. So I think a lot that happened there, and I talked about this with Bradley, so I won't belabor it, but Jenny and Drew had been working very closely together
I assume so.
to a point where they had almost kind of made a final two deal, and Jenny was trying to protect everyone. She was trying to get Allie out, keep you off the block, keep Drew safe, and it did not work.
That was a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
Yeah, for
ultimately, the relationship built with Drew got Jenny a jury vote, so that helped.
You're right. So at this point, I played a big part in getting out Sarah and Drew. So
yeah. Oh, for sure.
I felt very, very pleased about getting out those two, because those two I knew were going to be after me 100%.
Then the next day, by mere seconds, Tucker beats you in the Wheel of Fortune HOH. I mean by seconds.
You have no idea. I was standing down here. It was my anniversary, and I was taking an anniversary picture, and I was furious. I was so mad. That's why my anniversary picture that Ashton posted, I'm not happy. I was not happy at all. I did not want Tucker to win.
Yep. And so then Tucker essentially, really on his own, I mean, not on his own in the sense that he didn't talk to people about it, but it was his idea to target Ashton. And here it goes.
So he put up me and Daniel, correct? Am I wrong?
Yes, he did.
Okay. So he put up me and Daniel, and I didn't freak out. The reason I didn't freak out was because Tucker did vote to keep me. When I left the house, I thought Jenny and Tucker flipped. I didn't think it was Daniel. I trusted Daniel. That's why I was so mad at him when I came back in. But when I found out that Tucker kept me, I was very, very confident in him as my teammate. And so I was like, okay, Tucker's going to keep me safe. Tucker put me up on the block. I was like, I'm a pawn. Everybody wants Daniel out. I've got the votes. I've got Ashton. I've got Allie. I've got Jenny. I've got Chris. They want Daniel out. So I feel comfortable this week. When Allie won, I was ecstatic. I couldn't believe that she won. I was stoked. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to pull you off. Of course I'm going to pull you off. Then he put up Ashton and rocked my world. Okay, I take that back. So I was at a rehearsal because I work at a high school with a band. I was at a rehearsal, and he put up Ashton, and I literally watched it. And while I was walking, I was like, okay, put up Ashton, whatever. He's doing the same thing. He's just ensuring that me and Bradley and all those people vote for Daniel, because he just wants to get what he wants. Because we were basically saying, let's put Chris up, let's put Chris up, let's put Chris up. But he didn't want to. So I was assuming this way he would ensure Daniel would go home. Then Jenny and Bradley started acting really weird. Allie was messaging me. All this was happening while I was in a rehearsal, saying, I don't know if we have Bradley. I don't know if we have Jenny. I was texting Jenny, like my thumbs were flying. I was like, what are you doing? What is the plan? And they got me. This was the second time I was blindsided 100%. And they got Ashton out. And I was just like, I was more mad when Ashton got out than when I got out, because I saw how upset she was. I saw that Bradley and Jenny were the ones to do it. I was mad. So mad. Oh my!
It's funny. There's a lot of things. First of all, it's like that was a hard day for like literally everyone, especially like me, but more so Jenny and Bradley, because they knew that was coming. And I don't know if she, like I said, Jenny won, so I don't know if she changed anything. But if she like changed anything, she would probably say that she would like point blank tell Allie not to use the veto, because then Daniel would have went home for sure. Because they were willing to keep you, but they knew that Tucker wanted to go for Ashton. It was just funny because it was really Tucker and Chris that lobbied for it so hard as a means to protect themselves, which is ironic because they were the next two to go.
Yeah, I've talked to Bradley too, and he said if he could change one thing, it would be not to get Ashton out because the next 3 people that got evicted voted out Ashton. That it was 3 out of the 4 members of that Monkey Alliance,
Yep.
and it was all me. The thing that was kind of crazy to me was like I wanted Allie to use the veto because I thought that they were going to target me anyway. I thought that they were just lying to me again and they were going to try to get me out again. If you do it once, why wouldn't you do it again? So that's why I campaigned so hard for her to use the veto, but they got me. Mm-hmm. And I think after that, I point blank told Jenny that I wanted her out of this game and that I was going to be the one to send her out. If I could change one thing about the game, if you ask this question, I'm going to answer it now. If I could change one thing about that game, I would have gotten Jenny out the week after that. 100% I would have got Jenny out.
Pause. We're not stopping the broadcast. If you're watching live, you're not. So just skip ahead like a minute because Pepper is dying to go to the bathroom and I need to take her out.
I have 17% on my phone. And I'm on my porch. These are my rope lights that light up when I am on the porch. I've got a little statue, a bunch of chairs. I have wind ensemble in like an hour and 15 minutes. Hope this doesn't take that long. Hope my phone doesn't die. If it does, I'm just going to go right back inside. And you can all see my couch. But yeah, while I got you guys, I will say 100%, this game is so much fun to play.
All right, we're back.
Hi.
So you win the HOH, and you wish you would have gone for Tuck or for Jenny instead. Your target is Chris.
Yeah. Okay. So let me say between that, after Ashton left, I sent this big message again. I love a big message, and I just basically branded myself as Alliance. Alliance-lessness. I had no alliance, basically. I had no team. I had no final 2. I was like, somebody come work with me because I don't have anyone. That was kind of my Dr. Will approach. I don't have a team. I haven't won a single competition. I suck at Big Brother. Please come work with me because you're going to win if you sit next to me. That was my whole approach. Then I won HOH. Like I said, that was another one you had to study for. I'm really good at studying. If you give me things to memorize, I can memorize them. I was just good at it. So I won. I threw up Jenny and Tucker. Also, a side note, as soon as Ashton got evicted, I called Bradley and I said, our final 2 duo is still strong. Lying to his face. I wanted Bradley out right then and there. But obviously, I was lying to his face. My final 2 duo was obviously with Allie. Anyway, so I won and I put up Tucker and Jenny. But I wanted to gain their trust because I've seen how good those 2 can play the game. The one person who hadn't been playing the game, the only person I thought that wasn't playing the game that well was Chris. But that scared me because I know Chris. I know Chris is a beast. I've seen what Chris can do in other games and other comps or whatever. I couldn't figure out why he wasn't winning more and playing harder. So I just assumed that he was doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I knew that he was targeting me. Like, he made that very apparent to Ashton. So I was just like, Chris is a huge threat. He's targeting me. If we let him get to the final 6, he's going to bust out and become this great, awesome player, and he's going to win all these competitions, and he's going to win the whole game, and everybody likes Chris anyway. So I was like, we got to get Chris out now. Jenny and Tucker, if you guys trust me, if you guys keep me safe, I'll keep you safe. And that's where the whole start of I'll keep you safe, Jenny, this time thing kind of started. So then I got out one of the monkeys in the middle, Chris. I didn't even know they were Alliance, but I got him out. And
Chris was definitely working. He was definitely working a lot behind the scenes. He actually threw at least one HOH like outright because he didn't want to win comps early. And there was one other thing. Oh, and he, yes, he was targeting you, but he also almost, I think, was going to vote for you if you were sitting at the end against even Jenny.
I suspected he would because I played the best game of Big Brother.
We'll get there.
Josh, for All Stars.
I thought you were never playing this game again.
I'll play if we go to All Stars. For my ego.
So then Bradley wins HOH, and somehow another monkey is sent packing.
That was dumb. That was a dumb move on Bradley. Bradley should have picked a side. He should have either picked his monkeys or he should have picked me and Allie, and he should have just stuck with us. I think that was the nail in Bradley's coffin. We got out Tucker that week. Let's see. Bradley put up Daniel and Tucker. I think the reason he did that was to kind of please everyone in a way. He's like, Tucker, you're a pawn. Daniel, you're a pawn. Maybe he said that. I don't know. And everybody was just happy. What a lot of people don't know is I was about this close from voting out Daniel. I literally about a breath away from voting out Daniel. I just wanted to make Bradley happy because I wanted him to think that our final two deal was still intact. I didn't want Allie to go up as a replacement nominee, so obviously that's what happened. I can't remember who won veto.
Daniel did, and he didn't use it.
Oh, yeah. Bradley said, if you could somehow convince Daniel to win this veto, you'll be like the best player or whatever. I said, okay. So I did. I literally convinced somebody not to use the veto. And I said, if he's dumb enough not to use the veto, he deserves to go home. Jenny was on board to vote out. Jenny was on board for Daniel to go home, of course, but Allie wasn't. So I'm stuck between, I need this person to trust me. I need the HOH to trust me. And I need my final two person to trust me. And I'm in the middle. I'm like, how did I go from being evicted to being in the middle? It doesn't make any sense. I talked to all three of them on the phone that night. And I finally just got to the point where I was like, Bradley, tell me what to do. And he said to vote out Tucker. I called Jenny, which is dumb because I was his alliance member. Then I called Jenny and she said, I'm not saying vote out Tucker, but I'm saying I will not be upset if you vote out Tucker. Hi, Tucker. I hope you're hearing this. So, yeah, Jenny basically just said, yeah, go vote out Tucker. That gets the blood off my hands and I don't have to sit next to him in the final two. And that also allowed me to gain the trust of Daniel. And the Chris veto, I guess we'll get to the Daniel thing later. But yeah, this is where me and Daniel kind of started working together. We had Allie right there too. I was also sitting pretty with Jenny and Bradley as well. Mm-hmm. So we got out Tucker, and I was just like, "See you later, Tucker. You voted out Ashton." Right. So if I may recap, I've gotten out Sarah, Drew, Chris, and Tucker at this point.
Yeah,
just saying.
True. Okay, so then. And in a lot of ways, you got out Bradley, which happens here.
Oh, yeah.
So this is where I have a question because I'm not sure what happened. Because from what I was gathering from you, I thought that you were trying to get Jenny out here. So just to reset this, Daniel wins HOH, puts up Jenny and Bradley, and then Lane wins the veto. So that's when Lane made the decision. And I thought he was going to – I didn't know what you were going to do. And then what happened?
Yeah. Okay. So – hi, Bradley. Love you. I 100% wanted to vote out Jenny. Right in here, I won the veto. I didn't want to win it because Daniel, and you can confirm this if you can, did Daniel make some kind of deal with Jenny?
He essentially told her that he didn't want her out and he wanted Bradley out. There was no deal. They had been talking for several rounds, just kind of building relationship. And at that point, Jenny knew that Daniel didn't want Jenny out. Okay,
so Daniel was just like, I want Jenny gone. And Bradley, he was like, I want Bradley gone. And right. Jenny said, yes, I want Bradley gone too because he's a strong player. Everybody likes Bradley. I knew from day one that I couldn't go to the final two with Bradley. I knew that I had to get Bradley out at some point, and I thought this was the point where he was sitting so pretty for me to just take that shot at him. It literally made me sick to do it. I was like, either I'm going to vote out Jenny, make Jenny know that I voted her out and potentially put a target on my back, upset Allie and Daniel, or I could just do what Allie and Bradley would have went home anyway because Daniel would have broke the tie, or I can just do what you want, get Allie out, bite the bullet, gain some more trust from Jenny, gain some trust from Daniel and Allie, and that'd be the end all. That was just my point of view from everything. I didn't want to do it. I was actually at a high school football game doing it, and I was just bugging out, trying to teach kids. So I just had to bite the bullet, make the decision, and kill that final two deal with Bradley, send the third monkey home, and be direct and more blood on my hands. Just so much blood on my hands in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, I felt very confident because all three of the people that were left trusted me in a way.
Right. Somehow you were not target number one going into the final four. because that's when Allie, she won What the Bleep. And she won that final, well, not, she won the final 4 HOH, which probably made you feel okay that she wasn't going to be going after you.
Yeah, I feel great about it.
But
I didn't know
final
that
4,
Allie was talking to Jenny.
right.
Yeah.
Go
What I
ahead.
didn't know was that Allie was working with Jenny or talking to Jenny or whatever, because I
Right.
knew that they were on opposite ends of the spectrum. And she put up me and Daniel. I was like, why on God's green earth would you put up me and Daniel when you could put up Jenny and Daniel? Of course, it didn't matter. Jenny won the veto. But I felt very okay because when Daniel left, he didn't think I had anything to do with it. He didn't know that I was talking to Jenny. And so when Jenny ultimately made a decision to vote out Daniel, I was like, yes, Jenny trusts me. Yes, Allie obviously trusts me. Yes, Daniel still likes me and thinks I have nothing to do with this, him going into the jury house.
Mhm.
So I was just like, awesome. Everybody wins. I'm fine at that point. I just really wanted Jenny gone. I wanted Jenny gone at that point
Right.
because I knew Jenny was not to be trusted. I should have got her out earlier. God.
I think really your main shot to get Jenny was with the Bradley eviction, but that's probably the right move still to get Bradley out there, I think, because I think you have a better chance of beating Jenny over Bradley at the very end. Granted, you didn't, but you lost to the HOH. So we get to the final 3 HOH. Jenny
I
wins
dropped the ball.
Jenny wins part 1. You win part 2. Which is interesting because had they been flipped, I mean, that was just kind of random that I made part 1 what it was and part 2 what it was. I think had they been flipped, you would have won part 2 or you would have won part 1 and then then Allie would have won part 2. No. No, I don't think it would have mattered. I don't think it would have made a difference. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Don't hold me to this.
When Jenny won, like when you announced that Jenny won, I was like, okay, I'm gone. I was like, now there was still a little glimmer of hope inside of me because me and her had made a final 2 deal. But if I would have won, I would have cut her right there, obviously. I don't blame her. Like that, she did the impossible. She got me out. So that's.
Well, and that final 3 HOH part 3 was very intense, and it was really hard on me because I wrote it like the day before, which is really hard on me because sorry, I was rooting for Jenny, but it came down to the Daniel question, which I thought was easy, and you dropped the ball on that one. And
you said darn. When you put darn in there, that's what made me switch my answer. I was like, that sounds like some dumb thing Daniel would say. He would say something like that. That's
and then the other one
Sarah.
was the Sarah, the Drew question about who was robbed, Ian or Sarah. But you both missed that one. Had you gotten that one right, it would have went to the tiebreaker. And then tiebreaker could have been. I mean, it's a toss-up. So
yeah,
I was very nervous the whole time. It was very, very intense. I mean, and those kind of competitions, once someone gets a leg up, which Jenny did on the second question, it's tough to catch them, and that's what happened.
Yeah, that 100%. I knew that I couldn't win. After I missed one, I knew that I was done.
And so then we get to really, Jenny's making this decision, and she's not taking it lightly. She's not even ruling out taking you. Her and I are discussing. She's bouncing things off of me. We're just like talking through votes. And I knew that, I mean, like, I knew even if I hadn't had any of the information that I had, that you and her sitting next to her would not give her a chance, as good of a chance to win. I think it's still possible. I don't know, though. It's very close.
I don't think so.
My gut tells me you win.
Ashton, Brad, Allie, Daniel, Chris. I think I would have. The only person who wouldn't have voted for me would have been Tucker and Drew. I think you're right. I think the swing votes there are Bradley and Chris because they had worked so close with Jenny, but I think they may have gone to you. So ultimately, she clearly made the right decision. 1,000% right decision. Which is why I voted.
Right, because she won the game. So then now that we're here at the final jury questioning, which really went interestingly, you brought up something earlier about just people being good writers. That was one thing I was telling Jenny. I was like, don't let Allie outright you here. Just get your information out there. And that's what ultimately led to her 4.5-minute final plea video.
I didn't even watch it. I just knew at that point, once I watched like the first like 30 seconds of it, and I was like, okay, I'm voting for Jenny.
Right.
It just solidified it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the question I asked was something like, what was your biggest move of the game? And Allie I actually liked Allie's answer better when she said something about bringing over Daniel. Because Jenny said, what did Jenny say?
I think she said getting you out.
No, she didn't say that. She didn't say that. That's what she should have said.
Wait,
She said getting out Daniel. That's what she said.
maybe. I thought
Yeah,
she
she said getting.
talked about when she told Drew to tell Tyler to put you on the block. I'm going to check because I'm curious.
Maybe she said that later on. Maybe.
I think she had mentioned it.
But she didn't answer that directly to my question. And I said, if Jenny would have said getting you out, I would have automatically voted for her because she would have been 100% right.
Right.
But I think where Allie dropped the ball and the final two was her final two video. It was more like, yeah, vote for who you think should win. I would like to win or whatever.
Right.
Like, I had my final two speech started on day 00, and it grew and grew and grew until like when Jenny won the final HOH, I still added something onto it. I still added Jenny. I talked my way to the final two. Like, I deserve to be here.
Right.
That's Allie dropped the ball. I think that's where Allie kind of lost my vote. And Allie, if you're watching this, I love you. 4 Horsemen till I die. Jenny just got me.
Right. Twice.
Yep, 100%.
Which leads to kind of the discussion, and it doesn't have to be a long discussion, but you keep saying you're the best player in the game, which I think that you played a fantastic game, top to bottom, where I think, I mean, Jenny won, but that doesn't always mean the best player doesn't always win. In this case, I think they did, not just because she's my wife, but because you had become too big of your target on your back was illuminating by the end of it. And if you had found a way to tamper that, I think, I don't know if it makes a difference, but in terms of who is the better player, I think you guys were 1-2 with Bradley being right there.
Yeah.
And so, I mean.
Go all those. Yeah, I think so I wanted to come in the game and I wanted to separate myself from Ashton. I said, you know, we can have this little family thing, but we should have little side alliances and everybody should go out and talk to everybody and you know, just get everybody on board with at least one of us in different places. That way our eyes and ears can be everywhere and kind of distance me and Ashton. That's why I kind of branded myself as, you know, I don't want to work with Ashton. Ashton's not my final two because the target was already there. Like, I was the only person that everybody could agree was a target, me and Ashton, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course, we knew that Chris was a target and Bradley was a target, but I feel like everybody had come to consensus that me and Ashton were the targets. And once I left the game, I was like, you know, I was a target. What are you going to do? But then when I came back, that target was still there. And I was like, you know, you can either take that target and accept the fact you got a big target on your back, or you can take it off your back, use it as a shield. I became such a big target. People were overlooking me at some points.
Right.
People weren't putting me on the block. And I was a huge target. It was the evil dick approach. Like I said, my fan knowledge was coming out.
For those of you not familiar with the game, Evil Dick is a player that played he's not talking about being an evil dick.
His nickname was Evil Dick, and everybody hated him, and he won the game because he was such a big target and such a big jerk that people just let him go to the end. And that was another. Sorry guys, I'm going inside to charge my phone so I don't lose you guys. But yeah, 100% Evil Dick, you know, was awesome, and that's kind of who I based my game around anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, wrapping this up, for the record, at the beginning of this game, my friend and I did a draft. I think you were on my team, but I think I picked you really late. I didn't think you stood a chance to win. I'm very wrong about that.
Thank you.
Just because of the bombastic game you ended up playing, it almost stumbled you into winning.
Thanks.
But I also didn't pick Jenny, but I didn't have the first pick. So I don't know if I would have taken her the first pick because my winner pick going in was Bradley.
Mine was too.
And when I did the draft, it was only me and a friend. For the next game, I have a few people doing a draft, but I was hoping to steal Bradley later after getting Jenny, but then Jenny was the first pick by my friend.
Well, all right, good pick. They won.
Yeah.
She really did play an awesome game. I wish I got her sooner. Maybe someday we can play again and I can get her this time.
If you talk Jenny into playing again, I'll be very surprised.
I taught somebody into not using the veto. I might be able to talk Jenny.
That's true. Well, anything else you feel left to say?
Laniel till I die. I played an awesome game. It was a lot of fun. If anyone's watching that hasn't played, it'll mess up your brain. It'll consume your thoughts. I would go to sleep every night thinking about what I could do to play a better game. Anyone who's watching this, and if you haven't played, please play. Please give Josh your money because it's literally an experience of a lifetime. It literally took something off my bucket list and I got to do it, and I did really good at it. If you are watching this and I played with you, I'm sorry if I lied to you. I'm sorry if I was mean, if I was outrageous, if I was angry. Like, none of it was real. Like, I love I think 11 of you. Like, you guys are awesome. I can't wait to see you all in real life. Josh, you did amazing. Ashton, I love you. Bradley, brother. Jenny. Laniel till I die. One more time.
All right, well, that about wraps up our second deep dive. Hopefully next will be Ashton and Chris. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it doesn't really matter because I haven't released any of these yet. So, having said that, see you later.
See ya. Love you, Laniel.